Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. My name is Prime and today I'm gonna show you my one-shot pistol build. It is so much fun to play around with. As you can see in the background, this is not with the GE event active. So this is not with the zombie event because that of course gives you a little bit of boost in headshot damage. And I wanted to show you just a one-shot build without this event active. But believe me, it works very, very well with the event active as well. And this is one of the most fun builds to run around and get your stars in pretty damn quick. And in the background you will see me running through a mission, and this is without the GE event active, still one-shotting fools. From close you can do that. That even gives you a little bit more of a damage boost, and you can one-shot them from a distance as well. And it's pretty easy to make. This is all without exotics. This is just with a normal pistol, and this has mostly gear set items in there. So we all know this is just one attribute, and it's pretty easy to farm for, or you could even craft it. This is a lot of fun to play around with. You can just one-shot almost everybody, and especially with that GE event active, you can just run up to named enemies and one-tap them as well. You will see them explode, that beautiful green cloud. It is so much fun. Definitely try this build out, but enough intro, enough gameplay. Let's dive right into the build breakdown. And there we are. This is the build that you just saw. One-tapping everybody. And even within the GE event, you can do some damage, get your stars in. But this works without the GE event as well, as you saw in the gameplay before. Starting with my specialization, we are using the gunner specialization. And why? Because we want a little bit more survivability. Every time that we one-tap somebody, we're gaining an extra 10% armor on kill. And that gives us a little bit more survivability, as of course we are running around with a full red build. As you can see, I am running with the 2 white devs. You can choose whatever you want because this is a straight up pistol build. You can do whatever you like. I chose to go for the marksman rifles because maybe I need to shoot some people further away from me, and then with a marksman rifle it's a little bit easier, and this is exactly the same setup and I'm doing with my pistol because we're going for the talent determined. After killing an enemy with a headshot, the next shot landed on any enemy will be a guaranteed headshot. Same for my secondary. The only difference between these 2 white devs is the damage to target out of cover and the damage to armor. But again, you can choose for whatever you want because it's all about the pistol, and that's the D50. It has a base damage of 563.4k, RPM of 150 and a mag of 8. We have pistol damage on there, of course, and we rolled that extra attribute damage to target out of cover on there. But then again, we of course did it for determined, like every single gun on this build has as well. For the mod on there, because unfortunately we can only go for one mod, it's gonna be headshot damage for an extra 3%. Then jumping over to the overview of the build, and as you can see, we are running Hunter's Fury. But why the hell would you run Hunter's Fury with a pistol build? We're not getting any pistol damage out of it, but we're getting an extra armor on kill, again an extra survivability, and that Apex Predator activates when we're running around with 4 pieces, and this is another extra survivability, but also another damage boost if you want to get close to those enemies. Especially if you want to start up this whole cycle of doing headshots, it's good to be close, and this is just perfect. Because enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, so that is your survivability within 15 meters. That's pretty far away from an enemy. amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20% as well. So you're gaining an extra damage output and you're gaining a little bit more survivability throughout that debuff that the enemies receive. Killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters and amplifies your weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up 5 times. So in a perfect world, you can even get 45% extra amplified damage against the enemies within 15 meters, and they receive a debuff. The debuff sometimes doesn't really matter because they are disoriented as well, so they will not fire at you and you can easily shoot them all. It's pretty damn fun to play around with, and as I already explained, it's pretty easy to make because we're going for the 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury. For everything we chose weapon damage and headshot damage mod on there as well. Holster, weapon damage, headshot damage, knee pads, weapon damage, headshot damage, gloves, weapon damage, headshot damage. For my backpack, I chose to go for Douglas and Harding. Why? Because we're gaining an extra 20% pistol damage. You can also go for the Memento as well if you want a little bit more survivability. That of course goes up to that 30% extra weapon damage, and you have an extra armor core. A little bit more survivability as well, but I wanted to go for a straight red build with that Douglas and Harding in there. Again, we went for headshot damage as a mod, and critical hit chance. I found it this way, but I preferably want to see some weapon handling on there. That would be the stat that you want to hunt for. Then for our talent, Vigilance increases total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. It is very, very uncommon that we get hit, especially if we have this full build, fully stacked up. It's pretty easy to one-shot everybody, especially with the Determined talent in combination with our Perfect Headhunter. And this is the last piece of the build. Why Perfect Headhunter? Because this works perfectly with Determined. And you could say it's a little bit broken. The devs will look at it, so enjoy it while you can, because they will probably change it. The perfect talent of Determined already reads differently, and I think the normal Determined talent will probably read a little bit the same, that we cannot keep these headshots going, because that is what's going on right now. You can shoot them in the toe and still do a headshot. Then the Perfect Headhunter procs again, so you can keep this up. The beautiful thing about Perfect Headhunter, that it lasts for 30 seconds. So even if you shoot the last enemy within the room, you can still run to the next area, and most of the time you will reach that area within that 30 seconds, so it's pretty easy to keep up these stacks. So Perfect Headhunter, after killing an enemy with an headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. Damage is capped to 800% of your weapon damage. This is raised to 1250% if your headshot damage is greater than 150, and of course our headshot damage is greater than 150, so we will always be around that cap of 1250% of our weapon damage, and that's why this combination is so freakishly deadly, and you can one-tap everybody. I went for the Reviver Hive, Reviver armor repair of 10%, 5% range and 10% health on the mods on there, and I chose to go for the Foam Launcher because this gives me a little bit more survivability as well. But what you could do, because we're running around with a pistol build, you could also go for the Big Shield, because this protects you as well, and you can shoot just from cover. So if you feel that you're a little bit too squishy, you can go for the Bulwark Shield. This will help you with a little bit more survivability, and if you want to change it even to the Memento, you're gaining a little bit more health for this shield, because of course that skill efficiency kicks in and that extra armor core kicks in, and that extra skill tier kicks in. So now already we are 2.7 million health, but that raises even more. So that's even a setup that you can look at, but this is pretty much the whole overview. Let me go to stats and then let me show you a few different combinations what you can work with as well. So let's get over to the stats. Let's switch over to our handgun, but because that's what it's all about. The damage we already talked about, we have 16% critical hit chance. We're not really doing it for that. We're not really doing it for the critical hit damage as well, but we're doing it for the 213% headshot damage. This is already greater than that 150, so you could even drop your headshot damages on your gear to weapon handling to make the shots even hit easier. It's your choice, but for this build, I chose to go for straight up headshot damage. Then the rest isn't really that interesting because we're doing headshots, we're shooting toes, we're still doing headshots, so it's all about the headshot damage right now. And of course your weapon damage, because at 1250% of the perfect headhunter goes off your weapon damage, not your headshot damage. So if you want to lower your headshot damage, that's all right, but always try to stay above that 150 so you get that cap of 1250% of your weapon damage. So let's go back to the build and let me show you a few other combinations. Like I already told you about, you can go for the memento. Then make sure that you go for a headshot damage mod on there. And then if you want to change towards your bulwark shield that we just talked about, look at that health jumping up. It is 6.3 million health right now, while we had around 2.7 million before, while only changing your backpack to that memento. So if you want a little bit more survivability, go for the memento and combine it with that bulwark shield. And then you want to stay at your chest piece. You want to get that perfect headhunter in. You could also go for a DNH to gain that extra 20% pistol damage and then go for the regular headhunter. But if you want to just change this combination, it's a quick change because most of y'all have the memento already and most of you have the perfect headhunter as well. So you don't really have to farm for a different chest piece. It's pretty easy to get together and it's a little bit more survivability if you of course want that. So yeah, this is another combination that you can go for and you would only have to change your backpack. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about this setup. Are you going for setup 2 with the memento, or are you going setup 1 full reds, DNH backpack and one tapping everybody? I would love to know your opinion in the comments down below, and I would love to know how would you build this build, because these are still build templates. This is the way I like to run, so copy this build and change it however it suits you. It's still a template and everybody has their own way of playing the game. And if you're still here, closing to the end, thank you very much. You are a freaking legend. If you liked this video or helped you out in any way or form, make sure to like this video. And of course, if you're new here and you like the Division 2 and want to know a little bit more about the Division universe, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And I will see you in the next video. PurePrime out.